Well, happy Thursday, everyone. Sheila Duda from Tea-Lula here. As you can see, I'm without my sidekick, Julie. She was unexpectedly had something come up today, so I will be with you by myself. And let's just say that so far, this has been a complete success because I'm actually live. Because I know if you were with me the last time I tried to do this, it was a hot it was a hot mess. Good morning, Mike. So good to have you today. What's in your cuppa? All right, now I'm going to have to learn how to drive this thing. So we may not do a whole lot of driving today. I'll just keep the comments on, and hopefully you'll want to join in the conversation. I'm going to just pull up some of your questions. Anyway, this morning, Lily just asked what tea I would like. And I said, I would really like a Japanese cherry, which is a confusing tea, I know. Japanese cherry is actually a Chinese black tea. I'm sorry. It's a Chinese green tea that has a slight cherry flavor and more of a cherry aroma. A lot of people think it's a Japanese green tea, but no, we just called it because of the Japanese cherry trees that were given to the United States from Japan. It's just a beautiful tea. So anyway, that's what's in my cuppa. And Mike, you have a hazelnut, strawberry, and caramel pour. Michael, you have really good teas. I've never even heard of a hazelnut, strawberry, caramel pour, but I would love to try some of that. All right, so let's all slurp with me. I don't want to be alone slurping. Okay, so this Japanese cherry I used in a lot of my classes to hone in on a point of why it's important to taste teas before you buy them. So when in my classes, I love to use this tea because people really think they're going to get like a very strong cherry flavor, like a cherry Jolly Rancher and a green tea. And when you drink it, you're like, wow, that's actually not very robust cherry. No, it's a beautiful balance of the flavor and the Chinese green tea, but it has a stronger cherry aroma. So today's tip, always taste before you buy. So Mike said that his hazelnut strawberry caramel puer is a mix that he made himself. That's wonderful. Like blending tea is so much fun, isn't it, Mike? We're slowly getting into that here. And once we have our kitchen open, then we will start doing more micro blends because we need somewhere to do them that's not open to the public. So I really hope I do Julie proud today. Mike, I'm really excited about that. When you keep moving with your business, you'll have to market that, wholesale it. All right. So Julie sent me a list of questions that people had submitted to her through our social platforms. And one of them being that last Saturday was our 15th anniversary. One of the questions that she sent was 15 years ago, how did Fred and I imagine Tea-Lula would grow? We never imagined this. The whole 15 years ago, loose leaf tea was very new, especially in this area. There was no Teavana. There was David's tea from Canada had not yet come to the United States. Argo tea was just getting started. Adagio was already had like a wonderful presence, especially as one of the first really credible, wonderful online tea retailers. So we actually joined in the whole, sector, not having a clue what we were thinking we were going to do. So we had 800, we still have the first original 800 square feet. And we really just wanted to be the greatest tea retailer in the area. That was really the extent of the dream. Originally, I had wanted to open a tea room, but we put that on hold because we could never find the right space. So we thought, you know what, let's just do this retail. Well, it was really nothing I saw beyond that 800 square feet, but it was our customers that changed everything for us. So for instance, we opened in March, within, I don't know, 6 months, we had heard so many times, can we sit here and have a cup of tea? And I'm like, no, I'm a retailer. We're just retail. We have a tasting bar so you can sample the teas. Buy, try before you buy. And we kept hearing it. And then I got to know Bob Nagin from Whiz Bang Retail. And one of the things in the first conference that I went to many, many years ago, Bob Nagin would say, what would my customer want? So he's like, always put that in the forefront of your mind. What would my customer want? Well, my customer is loud and clear that they want a place to come to sit down and have a cup of tea. So we turned that tiny little 800 square foot space, and we put tables in like the 2 front windows, and then we had 6 spaces at the bar. And that was it for 9 years. We even did small showers, like, 18 person showers. It was hilarious because it was so tiny. Good morning, Tamitra. Thanks for joining us. Julie's not here today. She sent me a message early this morning that she wouldn't be able to make it. So I'm solo and a little nervous. So I was just talking about, like, one of the questions that Julie sent me that she had received was, how did we imagine Tea-Lula would grow from when we opened 15 years ago? So basically, focusing on what would my customer want, we added our seating area. Well, then I was being invited to do tea presentations all over the place, and I'm actually a rock star in the library circuit. So I started doing a lot of tea presentations in all the surrounding communities. And then, so there was a need for tea education. But then more people wanted to come in and sit and have tea. So after 9 years, we were fortunate that the space adjacent to us came open, and we busted through that wall. And so we added, what's behind me is our monitor. It's a TV, but our monitor for doing, presentations and tea classes. And then we added 6 small tables. So that was great. So now we could have, 16 people in for tea. I never really thought we would go beyond that. So we've been on this side for 6 years. And then very unexpectedly, the space adjacent to our middle space came open. And that's when our customers have been asking over and over, will you ever do afternoon tea? Will you ever have a tea room? And I thought, no, I'm just a retail store and I do classes with a small cafe. But again, what would my customer want? My customer wants a tea room. So that's why we we broke through the wall, and now we have the tea room opening, hopefully in 4 weeks. Hopefully. So basically the answer, in the short of it, is that we never really thought we would grow beyond our 800 square feet. I just wanted to be the Cheers of tea retail. Those of you who know the TV show Cheers from a long time ago. And that was it. And here we are 15 years later, and our, second expansion, and the tea room coming soon. And my teapots arrived on Monday or Tuesday. So we have teapots. We just need silverware, plates, a sink, inspections. It's coming. So it's going to be wonderful. So Mike just put a message up here, and I wish that I could show it. There it is. When you broke through the wall, did you hire the Kool-Aid man? Oh, you're the second person that asked that. That would have been great. But no, why didn't I think of that? He could have been coming through with a pot of TeaLula tea. Mike, as my beloved mom would say, honey, when your ship comes in, you'll be at the airport. She really said that to me. All right, so the next question that Julie sent to me, and I would really love to hear your answers to this. She said, people are curious to know if I could have afternoon tea with 8 famous people, alive or dead, who is sitting with me? Isn't that a wonderful question? So I was thinking about this this morning, and it was, I would want to have my best friend, Jane Pettigrew, who's a wonderful tea educator and author from England. Tamitra, you went on the trip with Jane Pettigrew, so I'm sure she's now your best friend. So I would want Jane Pettigrew and, of course, Bruce Richardson. And then I would want Jordan Peterson. So if you don't know who Jordan Peterson is, he's a psychologist who I think would just be a wonderful conversationalist at the party with some interesting input. Would love to have tea with Brene Brown because I think she's amazing and very interesting. I would also have Austin Hodge from Seven Cups Fine Chinese Teas from Arizona, because he imports some of the most exquisite Chinese teas I have ever had. So having him there would be wonderful. I would love to have my mom. So that would be 6, because my mom was hilarious. If any of you, well, this will date me, but if you know who Phyllis Diller is, my mom was kind of like a really beautiful Phyllis Diller. Very funny, very witty. She loved tea. She loved conversation. Thomas Sowell, who is an economist and a former professor. He's also very interesting with an interesting life story. And then my 8th one would be, if Fred watches this, yes, of course, I'd have Fred there. We'd pull up a chair. But I would have Tony Gebley, who is another wonderful tea person who has traveled the world and the world of tea. And he wrote a book and taught me so much. And he had his book signing here. And he would just be a wonderful conversationalist. So those are my 8. I think that it would just be a very spirited discussion on numerous topics over a pot of tea. So who would you have? Who would your 8 be? It's hard. Well, and unfortunately here you couldn't have 8 because our maximum seating is going to be 6. So we could do 6. So that was, I just think that would be wonderful. There's so many conversations on so many topics. And the thing about my group is that you'd have some people that had very different opinions on different topics. But I think having a pot of tea and enjoying that civility in civil discourse, I think would be fascinating. In fact, one of our goals, so I wrote this vision for Tea-Lula for 2028, right? And it's 5 years. So I wrote it a year ago, so we're working toward it. And one of the things that I wanted to see put in place by 2028, when we're 20 years old, is I wanted to start a podcast. And the podcast would be where we bring in guests of differing opinions, and we share our thoughts over a pot of tea. And depending on the controversy of the topic, how controversial the topic is, it could be like a one-pot discussion, or it could be a second steeping, or maybe for the really tricky ones, we would do a beautiful Taiwanese oolong where we could steep it 4 or 5 times, depending on the topic. But one of the things that really changed me during COVID was how people were butting heads, family members. There were some really difficult things that happened to certain family members over like different opinions on COVID and how to treat it and whatever. I really saw that it really split a lot of people. And I think the problem was that we stopped listening, really trying to listen to understand. So the podcast became something that we started thinking about, and how important that would be to just realize that we can really disagree on things. But if you drink tea, there's something about bringing people together around a pot of tea. So if you drink tea and you have a conversation and your spirit is one open to listening to understand the other point of view, I think that will go a long way to hopefully healing. Because there's some things that happen that I feel it's really sad. And we have something all in common. We're all Americans, and we can We can figure this out, because that's what we do. We figure stuff out. And just think about our wonderful country and how people come from all over the world to live here, and everything's like we get along. I love that. I mean, it's a very special place. So anyway, I digress, as normal. So that's why. So if you, I'd love to know what you think about my concept for the podcast. I just think it'd be hilarious. Like one of the things, like the first podcast would be, does tea make you skinny? A lot of people think that. So I'd be like, no. I would be emaciated and invisible. Let's discuss. So I think it would be a great idea. So let me know how you feel about our podcast. Let me tell you some other things. Oh, really good question on what happens to green tea. So one of our customer questions was, do some loose leaf green teas turn gray or yellow as they age? Does this mean it has gone bad? Fabulous question. Anyone know the answer to that? It's a great question. So let's look at matcha, for instance, the powder. We used to have it sitting in a glass jar, and after like a week, it would be the most unattractive shade of gray. That's because from people picking it up and shaking it, the matcha, which is ground tea leaves, started to rub against one another. There was friction, and it turned gray because it oxidized. So when you see your green tea leaves start changing in color, chances are it's getting air on it, which you probably don't want, and it's starting to oxidize the leaf. So it will have an impact on the flavor. So to keep that from happening, one, drink it, brew it up, and enjoy it. Make sure that it is kept away from air. That's really important. So if you have your tea in a tin and there's a whole lot of space between the lid of the tin and where the tea is, you want to put that tea into some kind of Ziploc bag or foil bag and squeeze that air out, because that is what will break down your tea. You also want to keep it away from the light, because the light will photo-oxidize it. So if it's let's say it's in a mason jar and it's on the counter, you'll see it change color because the light and the heat will begin to photo-oxidize it, and it'll break it down. So it'll just taste flat. It's not like it's spoiled. It's just not going to have that beautiful, bright mouthfeel that you would get from fresher leaf. So air, light, heat, moisture are your enemies of tea. So I was really happy. I was brewing an Asanoka Sencha. Asanoka is a cultivar of the tea plant, and it's from Japan. And it's very fine needles. And I was brewing it for a customer yesterday. And I was so happy with my beloved team members that they had taken the Asanoka Sencha and they had put it in a Ziploc bag and squeezed all that air out, because there was only a little bit. So it wasn't in that tin getting air and going flat. So that was a great one. So I was very pleased with that. So air, light, heat, moisture. There will be a quiz at the end. Keep that away from your tea and it will stay fresh. But green tea, you kind of need to know that it's about 6 months shelf life. So just drink it every day. Here's another great question. How many cups of tea has Tea-Lula served over 15 years? A lot. I should have looked that number up, but because we changed the way we did things in our database, it was hard to get that number. But it would be in the tens of thousands at this point. So if I have time, I'll look it up and I'll put it on there for you, because I thought that was such a great question. Because in the beginning, we only did tea tastings and sold packaged tea, but it wasn't until we started doing prepared beverages that changed. So a little behind the scenes thing, our bar area was never built for what we're doing today. Like, the counter's too low. We don't have room for an ice maker. Nothing fits. We run out of space. And it's all just because we were just going to have the tasting bars. But like I said, we make it work. All right, Jill, what are you? I see that Jill has joined us today. Jill, what are you drinking today? Anything? You always have great teas during our tea chats. All right, let me see if Julie has any other fun questions for me. Oh, this is a tough one for me to answer. You're probably going to get annoyed with me. Oh, I'm going to put Tamitra's up here. So this is Tamitra, one of our tea sisters. Lorna Reeves. So these are her 8 or 6. So Jane Pettigrew, Daniel Lewis. Oh, I made the list. Tamitra and Julie. That's so wonderful. And your mom. Wouldn't it just be great just to have a cup of tea with mom again? Oh, I miss that. That's a good list. Wonderful. Thank you. Oh, and Jill just finished her iced matcha latte with oat milk. I'm a big fan of the oat milk, honestly. All right. So here's a question that I'm sure you're not going to like the answer to. Some customers enjoy the convenience of tea bags. Could Tea-Lula sell great loose leaf tea pre-packaged in tea bags? So that's a tough one. Several years ago, we did bring in some tea sachets, like in the little pyramid bags. And I just never thought they had the quality that I wanted. I'll show you what Jill just said. Thanks, Jill. All caps, exclamation point. Way to go, Jill. That's wonderful. So the tea bag. I really, really want to focus on loose leaf tea. Now we do sell it in pre-pack or in, we do sell the big tea sacks that you can make your own tea bags. I don't think we would take, we would want to raise the price of that tea because I try to keep it as reasonable as absolutely possible. So that, because I really want everyone to enjoy loose leaf tea and I want it to be an affordable luxury. If we actually took the tea and we packaged it into tea sacks, like measured it out and packaged it into tea sacks, that would really increase the price because of the labor. So we sell the big tea sacks for you to make your own. Also, I sometimes feel like once you understand how easy it is using a teapot with an infuser in it, or a mug with an infuser, or even the basket infuser, any of those infuser gizmos, it really does become easy. And there have been times when I have timed how long it took to brew a pot of coffee versus to brew a cup of tea. And it really is the same. So imagine if you're grinding your beans and then it has to like percolate, or I have to look it up on YouTube. How do you use my coffee maker? So Fred makes the coffee. How long that takes? It's really not much longer than bringing your water to temperature, pouring it over the leaf, and removing the basket after 3 minutes. And you are rewarded for your patience. So I don't think we'll do tea bags. Jill had another really great comment I'm going to share, and it's tea does not like to be crowded. 100%, Jill. It really wants that room to expand. And like if you did a beautiful oolong, sometimes it's, it really does release flavor when it has that chance to unfurl. So I'm going to have to say that's a hard no. I know. And now what's in my head is my mentor, Bob Nagan, saying to me, what would my customer want? So I struggle with that. But I kind of feel like going back to the core values of Tea-Lula and what we want to be. And that's like, we want to have like the most delicious, wonderful, thoughtfully curated loose leaf teas. I think that would kind of be a hard no. See, now I'm perplexed. I'm among the perplexed right now. So thank you, Jill, for helping me here with that. Hello, Anne. Good morning. Unfortunately, Julie wasn't able to be with us today, so I'm soloing. It's very hard doing this solo. So I have to say I appreciate Julie so much for taking care of the show. So, but welcome to you. I'm glad you could be with us today. And that's kind of all that I have for today. Do any of you have questions for me? I'm looking at your comments now. So just another update on the tea room. We're thinking it's going to be about 4 more weeks. We have to get a few more items in for inspection. If you want to be on our list we're going to be looking for people who will come and let us practice our systems with you, like the flow of the tea, the timing. We would love for you to be a part of that. So all you have to do is make sure that we have your email, you've joined our email list, and then as soon as we get the go-ahead to get our kitchen going, we'll be inviting people in for a couple of our practice sessions. So hello, Joellen. Thanks for joining us from beautiful Minnesota, the state of my beloved daughter, son-in-law, and my 3 fantastic, I miss them so much, grandkids. Hope to be back in your neck of the woods soon. I'm really nervous, like when the tea room opens, will I ever be able to see the grandkids again? I pray. So that's about it. What's coming up in the store? Julie would be like, okay, what's coming up in the store? Chai's over. Sorry. It was good season while it lasted. Name frame will be coming back, I believe, in April. And that's always a fun thing to look forward to. Tea room's coming up, hopefully before Mother's Day. Don't hold me to it. We have to be inspected. What else is coming up in the store? Oh, we've got some wonderful new products in. Oh, Julie would have had them all here to show you. We've got, and we'll see, we'll put links and photos up. We've got these wonderful new travel tea infusers that we are over the moon about. They come in these beautiful matte colors. I believe they hold 16 ounces. We will definitely do a little video and put them up on our website and on our social media channels. The one thing that was like sealed the deal for us, because we have tried numerous types of tea travel infusers, and they were all great in concept, but then kind of missed the mark as we started using them. This one, we just love it. And I am taking classes from the Tea Academy in Canada for the Real Sommelier certification program. And when I saw this new product come out, it was actually, the video was my instructor talking about this product. And I thought, oh my gosh, she would never, ever endorse a product that she wasn't 100% behind. So when I saw that, I called Lily. I'm like, you order every color they have. And so they just came in. So we'll show you those soon. Also, we had a lot of requests for the stovetop kettle. So there's like this borosilica glass kettle you can put on your stovetop to boil your water. And then there's an infuser that you can drop into the heated water to make your tea. They're big, they're 72 ounces. But then there was the original one was, I think, 46 ounces, but it had the infuser basket in it. So once the water came to temperature, you could just lower the basket into it. Those have been returned to the vendor. And so I placed an order for those yesterday or the day before. So we'll have them next week. That was a real popular item. And we had a lot of people asking to be notified when they were back in. So, well, look at that. Flew by. Thanks for being with me and making me less lonely without my partner here, Julie. And so to Julie and her family, we wish you all the best. And we hope that you will be back with us next Thursday. I'm sure you will. And for all of you for joining us today, thank you so much. And I'm really glad we had this time together. And good chat, everyone. We'll see you next Thursday. And don't make fun of me, okay? This was hard. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye. Oh, boy.